perspective, and one of the key sort of common elements we found was sort of lacking or needing some refinement was around the capability piece. And within that, obviously, that's not just for the lower level, but from a leadership perspective as well. And we were looking at various things that stem from that, such as communication, transparency, obviously culture, and that is something that everyone's responsible for in their organisations, but it does really need to be led from the top, which is a little hard sometimes when they're always strategising. The relationship trumps everything, and that is a skill that I guess sort of gets overlooked somewhat these days as well. So it's a matter of obviously how do we build that type of capability. It's really important to ensure that that is shown from a vendor perspective and also an agency perspective, because without relationships you can't actually function. We talk also about the difference between a relationship and sales culture and how growth elements are required to a certain degree to progress these days. Agile, great term. What does it mean? It differs for everybody. And how do you teach Agile as far as a capability goes? And flowing on from that, it was around obviously, well, what does value mean to an organisation, and are people aware as to what drives the value of that organisation, and how to actually go out and attain that for their organisations? As Simon alluded to, always learning and questioning. Don't take things at face value. And a lot of people we see these days are very shy when it comes to verbal communication. Keyboard warriors comes to mind. So it's actually how to instill old school capability around getting people to step outside the comfort zones and have conversations in the face-to-face means. So with that comes the ability to build trust. I mean, we are the keepers of the purse. So we need to be ensuring that we have open conversations and we educate our stakeholders along the way. Whether that's with multi-vendors or single vendors, we tend to have seen an age where we go with a single vendor versus multi-vendors because it becomes too hard to manage multi-vendors, or the effort that's required when you're dealing with limited resources is expended too greatly in multi-vendor conversations versus actually being able to reduce and condense and deal with one vendor. Realising that obviously when you build capability, the trust in regards to how you deliver grows, and therefore it doesn't become a tick box exercise. So therefore you there really become an enabler as opposed to a gatekeeper. We've also got obviously not being compliance driven, but value and outcomes driven. We've got barriers as well, such as obviously commercial IP behaviours. We've got that whole use it or lose it culture as well. And the risk aversion, yeah. Everyone's risk adverse over and above in some instances. We had obviously the budget scenario and being able to have a portion set aside to enable us to do some concept work and the likes. That to me sounds fantastic, but actually getting buy-in to do that, that's a road that is going to be a long, hard road for a number of us to have. So, yeah.
Thanks. Very good.